I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers stay as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Welcome back, everyone. It's great to have you with us again as we explore A Course in Miracles in Practice. We're moving right along through part 2 of the workbook.
That's right, and today we land on a really pivotal one, lesson 274.
Before we jump in, just a quick reminder, we always love hearing your reflections and stories. You can share those with us via email.
Yep, the address is ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org. And you can also find us on TikTok for quick thoughts and reminders. That's at the World Harmony Project.
Okay, so let's settle in now and turn our focus to today's lesson. I'll start by reading the first part of Lesson 274. Lesson 274. Today belongs to love. Let me not fear. Father, today I would let all things be as a seven. You created them, and give your Son the honor due his sinlessness, the love of brother to his brother and his friend. Through this I am redeemed. Through this as well, the truth will enter where illusions were, light will replace all darkness, and your Son will know he is as you created him.
A special blessing comes to us today from him who is our Father. Give this day to him, and there will be no fear today, because the day is given unto love.
Wow. That very first line, today belongs to love, let me not fear. It just hits you immediately, doesn't it? It feels like it's setting up this daily crossroad.
Like every single morning, maybe even before your feet hit the floor, there's this fundamental decision point. Are you handing the day over to fear, or are you handing it over to love?
And what strikes me is the implication that love is just there. It's ready. It's waiting to receive the day. You don't have to conjure it up or work hard to create it.
That's such a key point. It shifts the whole dynamic. If love were something you had to manufacture, this lesson would feel like a huge burden. But the Course frames love as the underlying reality, the default state.
So giving the day to love isn't about effort. It's more like relaxing into something that's already supporting you.
It's a return to your natural state. And then the lesson connects this choice directly to this powerful word, redemption.
Okay, let's talk about redemption for a minute, because it carries a lot of baggage from traditional contexts, punishment, paying off debt, suffering.
Right, and the Course completely repurposes it. Here, redemption isn't about correcting past mistakes through pain. It's an internal cognitive shift. It happens now.
So it's more about seeing clearly, like recognizing the truth of a situation or a person.
That's it. The lesson says redemption comes through this. Through honoring the sinlessness of your brother, your friend, everyone. When you choose to see that inherent worth, that love in someone else,
it automatically dissolves the fear and guilt in your own mind. It's an instant effect.
It's a replacement. Light will replace all darkness. Not fight it, not slowly chip away at it, but replace it instantly, like turning on a light switch.
And that really speaks to the Course's integrity, I think. It uses familiar, sometimes Christian-sounding language, but the underlying message is consistently about patience, oneness, and the power of a present choice for love. There's no threat, no judgment.
None at all. It keeps circling back to this gentle yet radical idea that peace is a decision away. And we should probably clarify sinlessness, too.
Good point. It's not suggesting people are perfect angels walking around, is it?
Not in terms of behavior, no. It's looking past the behavior, past the ego's defenses, the fear, the anger, all that stuff we layer on top. It's seeing the core innocence, the untouched worth that the Course says is our true reality.
So when you choose to see the sinlessness in, say, that difficult coworker or the person who cut you off in traffic, you're actually acknowledging that same core innocence within yourself. And in that recognition, fear just can't survive. It loses its grip.
And the Course is very clear that this isn't just abstract philosophy. It's meant for the messy stuff of everyday life.
Oh, definitely. It has to work there. Otherwise, what's the point? I had a situation recently, actually, that put this lesson right to the test. I was part of a project team collaborating with another company, and the lead supervisor from their side was intense. Very arrogant, quite dismissive, and honestly, pretty verbally aggressive toward his own team members. You could see the fear in them when he spoke. And that tension inevitably spilled over into our joint meetings.
Ugh, that sounds tough. A real challenge to stay centered in. How did you handle it, keeping this lesson in mind?
Well, I kept coming back to this image, almost like a mental anchor. I pictured myself carrying a lamp.
Tell me more about that.
It represented the light of truth, you know? But crucially, it wasn't a spotlight I was trying to shine on him to expose his flaws or change him. It was for me. It was about keeping my own inner space lit, staying grounded in that sense of peace from the lesson.
So acknowledging his behavior, which sounds like it was coming from his own fear and ego.
Right? Acknowledging it without engaging it on its own terms. If I had reacted defensively or gotten angry or tried to win the interaction, I would have just been mirroring his fear back in him, feeding the cycle.
So what did you do?
Practically, I made myself the main point of contact to sort of shield my own team from the direct friction as much as possible. I reassured them privately that I saw what was happening and valued their work. But the main thing was the internal work, constantly bringing my mind back to that quiet lamp, consciously choosing not to let his energy dictate my inner state.
That's a fantastic example. You didn't try to fix him. You focused on managing your response. The lamp wasn't a weapon. It was a tool for maintaining your own peace.
Exactly. It was about emotional boundary setting, fueled by that commitment. Today belongs to love. Let me not fear.
And that's precisely what the Course asks, isn't it? It doesn't promise we can magically change difficult people or circumstances. It promises we can change how we experience them. By choosing peace internally, you shift the energy you bring to the situation.
Yes. It's like the idea of waking up within the dream, not necessarily trying to repaint the entire dreamscape. The moment my internal state shifted, the whole interaction felt different to me, even if his behavior didn't change dramatically in that moment.
I had a somewhat similar, though maybe less intense experience recently at a hotel. There was a desk agent I had to interact with 3 separate times over my stay.
Okay.
And each time he was just incredibly curt. Minimal words, no eye contact, just sort of grunting answers. It felt almost deliberate, like he was actively resisting any kind of connection.
That can be really grating.
Yeah.
What was your first instinct?
My first instinct was pure ego. Try harder, be extra friendly, smile bigger, try to jolly him out of it, try to fix the situation, force a positive interaction.
Which, let me guess, didn't work.
Of course not. It just made me feel more frustrated and slightly foolish. It was the ego trying to control the external world and failing.
So then what? Did you remember the lesson?
Yes. I caught myself and thought, okay, this isn't working. I shifted gears. Instead of trying to change him, I focused on maintaining my own inner state. I visualized this idea of a bubble of serenity around me.
A bubble of serenity. I like that image too.
Yeah, and I just stood there inside this mental bubble and silently affirmed, this moment belongs to love. I wasn't trying to beam love at him or get a specific reaction anymore. I was just holding my own space of peace. And by the third interaction, his demeanor hadn't changed one bit. He was still curt, still avoiding eye contact. But I felt completely different. I was calm, steady, not bothered by it at all. The bubble worked not to change him, but to keep me anchored in love.
That's a really important distinction, isn't it, between using these ideas as a tool for inner peace versus using them as a kind of subtle manipulation to get the outcome we want.
Oh, absolutely. That's the potential trap of spiritual bypassing, right? Using these concepts to avoid dealing with reality. But the intention here is different. It's not about checking out. It's about staying present with difficult reality, but from a different internal foundation. I was still dealing with the agent, just without the reactivity.
Maintaining that internal boundary while staying engaged. That hotel story is such a clear illustration of how it works. Keeping your peace, even when the external world seems determined to provoke you.
Mm-hmm. And these images, the quiet lamp, the bubble of serenity, you can think of them as practical ways to access what the Course calls Christ's vision. It's about seeing connection, seeing love, even when the surface looks like separation or conflict.
It's interesting how different things work for different people. For me, while I appreciate the imagery, sometimes it's the words themselves that become the anchor. Just repeating "today belongs to love" can pull me back when things get chaotic.
And that's perfectly valid too. Whether it's visualization, which uses the imagination, or verbal affirmations, which use language, both are ways of taking the mind's tools, which the ego usually uses for separation and fear,
and turning them over to the Holy Spirit or to love for the purpose of healing and unity instead.
Exactly. The body and mind become useful instruments for peace rather than barriers to it once we make that surrender.
That simple shift in purpose changes everything.
And speaking of language, I also love that the lesson uses the word friend when referring to the Holy Spirit or our inner guide.
Yes, it makes it so much more relatable, doesn't it? Not some distant, abstract deity, but a close, trusted companion.
It takes the fear out of the relationship somehow. It feels like someone you can actually talk to, someone who's right there with you.
Like a best friend who always gets it and never leaves your side. So when the fear thoughts or the doubts come up, you don't have to wrestle with them alone in your own head.
Right. You bring them to this friend. You hand them over saying, I don't know how to see this differently, but you do. And that act of asking for reinterpretation is what loosens fear's grip.
Because you're stepping out of the fearful thought system that created the problem in the first place.
And this connects right back to that promise. Light will replace all darkness. Remember the word replace. It's not a battle.
No, it's instantaneous. Like darkness just vanishes when you turn on the light.
Yeah.
It has no substance of its own.
One conscious choice, held willingly, can genuinely flip the switch on your whole experience.
Even if nothing on the outside seems to change immediately, the internal shift is the real miracle.
You know, this reminds me of situations where people try to make big external gestures of peace or unity, but somehow they fall flat. Like that infamous Pepsi ad from a few years back.
Oh, right. With the protest scene. Yeah, that got a lot of backlash.
And Lesson 274 basically explains why it felt so off to so many people.
It felt performative.
The course teaches that the real work has to happen internally.
Otherwise, it's just the ego putting on a love and light costume, isn't it? And trying to manipulate the situation while still holding on to its fear and separation underneath.
Precisely. Authenticity flows from that inner commitment. When you've genuinely given the moment to love, even a small gesture feels powerful. When you haven't, even a grand gesture can ring hollow.
So the proof isn't necessarily that the external situation instantly transforms into rainbows and unicorns.
No, probably not. The proof is internal. It's noticing, I expected to feel angry there, but I feel calm. Or I thought I'd be anxious about this, but actually, I feel peaceful. That's the evidence that love has taken over.
Okay, so if we accept that this is an internal daily practice, how do we make it really practical? How do we build a kind of rhythm for applying this lesson throughout the day?
That's the key question, isn't it? Moving from understanding the concept to actually living it. What steps can you take?
Well, based on how the course structures practice, I think we could outline maybe 4 simple steps to create that rhythm.
Okay, let's hear them.
First step, the morning intention. First thing upon waking, maybe even before coffee, consciously say, I give this day to love, let me not fear. Set the tone immediately.
Make love the director of the day before the ego gets its agenda in. I like that. What's next?
Second, have a touchstone phrase. When friction inevitably arises, the traffic jam, the annoying email, the disagreement, you immediately pull out the phrase, today belongs to love, let me not fear.
Like hitting a mental reset button, interrupting the fear reflex.
Exactly. It stops the downward spiral before it gains momentum. Then, step 3 focuses on interactions.
Okay.
Step 3, dedicate interactions. Before you walk into that meeting, make that phone call, or even sit down for dinner with family if that's stressful, take a second and silently affirm, this belongs to love.
So you're surrendering the purpose of the interaction, not necessarily trying to control the outcome.
Right. You're shifting the goal from winning or being right to connection and extending peace. It's about relinquishing that ego control.
That takes practice, but it's powerful. And the 4th step.
The 4th step is the evening reflection. This closes the loop. Before sleep, ask yourself 2 things. Where did I let love lead today? And just as importantly, where did fear sneak back in?
So it's a gentle inventory, not for judgment, but for awareness.
Precisely. It helps you notice the small wins, the quiet breakthroughs, and see where you might need a little more vigilance tomorrow. It's data collection for your practice without beating yourself up.
Those quiet breakthroughs are so important to notice.
They really are. I had one during my reflection. I was thinking about a work call earlier that day that had gotten pretty tense. My usual MO would be to get defensive, maybe snap back, and then spend hours replaying it, thinking of better comebacks. But as I reflected, I realized I hadn't snapped back. There was a moment where I felt the anger rise, but I just took a breath, stayed quiet, and let the moment pass. The call moved on calmly. It wasn't dramatic. Nobody gave me an award for it, but internally, it felt huge.
Because you recognized you'd chosen differently in that split second.
Yes. I realized I'd unconsciously given that heated moment to love simply by not reacting from fear. It was one of those quiet wins the reflection helps you catch.
That is exactly the kind of progress the Course points towards. Not necessarily outward fireworks, but those subtle internal shifts where fear didn't get to run the show. Writing down even one instance like that can be so validating.
It really can. And that connects to the special blessing mentioned in the lesson, doesn't it? The role of gratitude seems key here. If there's a blessing being offered, gratitude feels like the way we open the door to receive it. It's like saying yes to the gift, acknowledging that love and peace are available now, even if the external circumstances haven't caught up yet.
Gratitude shifts our focus from lack to presence. It aligns us with acceptance. I learned this the hard way, actually.
Oh.
For years, my gratitude practice was very transactional. I was thankful when things went my way and resentful when they didn't, like Santa Claus, good behavior gets rewards. Well, that mindset completely crumbled during the absolute hardest year of my life. It was just one blow after another. I lost my father, then my mother had a major stroke, my car died, I lost my job, and then the unemployment ran out. I hit a real bottom, feeling incredibly scared and depressed.
That's stress and loss all at once.
It was. And in that state, transactional gratitude was useless. What was I supposed to be thankful for? But I made a conscious choice to practice gratitude anyway. Not for the terrible circumstances, but for the bedrock things that were still true.
Like what?
Like having had a good upbringing, like still having a roof over my head, like having the basic health to look for new work, tiny things, foundational things. But the real shift came when I started applying Course principles to my grief.
How did that work?
I leaned into the teaching that our true self, our spirit, doesn't experience death or loss. It helped me shift from mourning the physical absence of my parents to actively cultivating a spiritual connection with them, a sense of their ongoing presence and love.
Moving from focus on form to focus on spirit. That's huge.
It changed everything. Gratitude stopped being about external conditions and became about recognizing what cannot be lost. Love, connection, spirit, the capacity for forgiveness, that became the doorway. It wasn't about liking the situation. It was about finding the love within the situation. And honestly, that's what propelled me deeper into studying and living this material.
What a powerful story. It shows that gratitude isn't about pretending things are fine when they're not. It's about remembering our true nature, our oneness, even amidst the difficulties, shifting focus from the temporary form to the eternal spirit.
Yes. And that brings us back to the core promise of Lesson 274. Fear simply has no place when the day belongs to love. It's not about being perfect at this.
No, it's about willingness. Starting right where you are, maybe feeling overwhelmed or fearful, and just being willing to choose again.
Yeah.
Every time you notice fear has crept back in, you just gently choose love again.
And these tools, these affirmations, they work even when you're exhausted or feel like you're failing. I woke up the other night, maybe 3 a.m., classic anxiety attack, mind racing about bills, deadlines, all the what ifs.
Ugh, it's the worst.
It really is. The fear felt so real, almost physical. But instead of getting caught in the spiral, I just started repeating an affirmation from another lesson, Lesson 109. I rest in God.
Simple. Direct.
And it worked. It created just enough mental space. It reminded me I wasn't facing this fear alone, that I could hand it over to that inner friend. I kept repeating it, breathing with it, and within a few minutes, the panic subsided. I actually fell back asleep peacefully.
Proof that even in the middle of the night, in that raw state, The choice for peace is available and effective.
It truly is. It's about handing the moment back to love instead of letting the ego's scary stories run wild.
I do something similar before difficult work meetings sometimes. If I know it's going to be tense, I'll take a moment beforehand and repeat silently. Light replaces darkness in my mind.
Does it change the meeting?
Not necessarily the external events, no. But it changes me. I walk in without that heavy feeling of dread or defensiveness I might otherwise carry. It shifts my internal state, allows me to stay more grounded, more peaceful, even if the discussion gets heated.
And that internal shift is everything. It changes how you experience the meeting and likely how you contribute to it.
So we hope you, listening, will keep these ideas and maybe these phrases close by this week. Let them be reminders that love is always here, ready to lead if you're willing to let it.
Use the lamp, use the bubble, use the words, whatever works for you as a tool to remember.
Absolutely. We trust this exploration of Lesson 274 has given you some practical ways to think about choosing love over fear in your own life. As always, we'd love to hear how it lands for you. Drop us an email.
Yes, ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org. Or find us on TikTok at The World Harmony Project.
So as we wrap up today, building on that idea that light instantly replaces darkness, here's something to maybe ponder. If that replacement truly is instantaneous, if fear genuinely has no power of its own, only the power we give it, what core belief inside yourself needs to shift for you to fully accept the slightly terrifying idea that you are, in fact, choosing the darkness every single time you feel fear?
Ooh, that's a good one to sit with.
We'll leave you with that thought. We'll be back tomorrow to continue our journey with Lesson 275.
Until then, may you give your day to love and may you walk in peace.